Hello and welcome to Chapter 2, Lesson 1. We're going to start a new chapter, and that is some exciting stuff. Oh boy. So, we're going to talk about rational numbers. In thinking about numbers, you started your kindergarten career, even before that, but definitely your schooling career, learning the counting numbers. How do you count? 1, 2, 3, 4. At some point, you probably played with those little bears, and you came to a point where there wasn't any bears left. So we needed to introduce the number 0. Now we had the set of what we call whole numbers, starting with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, etc. Any numbers in between those, because sometimes you have half a bear or 3/4 of a candy bar. That's where your rational numbers come in. Rational numbers are any number that can be made into a fraction. So that includes your whole numbers because, say, for example, the number 5 can be written 5/1 or 5.5. That can be written as 11/2. So any number that can be changed into a fraction is a rational number. So what we're going to do is talk about changing these into fractions into decimals, and then we'll talk about decimals into fractions. Converting fractions to decimals. Any fraction can be expressed as a decimal by dividing the numerator by the denominator. I always like to start with something that you know, because then you believe me that it actually works. So remember that this bar right here is a division bar. And so this is said 3 divided by 4. If you're dividing by 4, 4 is that divisor on the outside. The dividend is in the middle. That's what you're dividing. So 4 can't go into 3, so we need to annex a decimal point and a couple of zeros, maintaining that value of 3 wholes, and bring the decimal up and divide. How many 4s into 30? 7. 4 times 7 is 28. Subtract, get 2. Bring down a 0. 4 into 20 goes 5 times. This ends perfectly in a 0. So this is what we call a terminating decimal. Terminate, like the Terminator. The Terminator ended lives, I think. This is just ending a decimal. To terminate means to end. That one you probably knew. 3/4 of a dollar is 75 cents. Now you see how we got it. And I think that it's really valuable to start with something that you already know in order to move on. Let's try a negative. Negative 3/8. Well, if it's negative as a fraction, it's going to be negative as a decimal as well. We need our division box. 3 divided by 8. I need a decimal point and annex some zeros, maintaining that value of 3. 8 didn't go into 3, but 8 goes into 30. 8 times 3 is 24. Subtract to get 6. Bring down a 0. 8 times 7 is 56. 8 times 8 would be 64. Too many. But I still have a 4 left. When you are dividing decimals, you annex another 0 until it either terminates, which means to end, or it repeats. 8 times 5 is 40. So this does end in a 0 at the bottom, which means it is a terminating decimal, making it negative 0.375. That is a terminating decimal. To be continued in the next video.